In this return to ordinary time, the evangelist Luke gives us stories of Jesus calling us to take life more simply as Jesus sends out the disciples. He gives them very few instructions other than what they're to wear and very few words to say. It is, in many ways, an opportunity to reflect on how the simple ways in life so often do much better than complicated life. We know how complicated our life can be, especially when we find ourselves arguing over things that don't really matter, and we miss the point. A mother was telling me of an argument that two of her children were having about whose turn it was to take out the garbage. And they went back and forth. And after a few minutes of that, the mother, exasperated, picked up the bag of garbage herself and took it outside and put it in the garbage can. The two children were dumbstruck, didn't know what to say as the mother came back into the house. And all she said to them was, "The point is not whose turn it is, but that the garbage had to be taken out." How often in life we complicate things that should be very simple. But we also have a tendency in life to make things complicated because of past hurts. And like a sore that is picked, a scab that is picked on a wound, we return to it so that healing never takes place. We make things, especially with our sense of revenge and sense of resentment, get in the way of bringing about healing when all that is needed at times is a simple "I'm sorry" or "I forgive you," and then the ability to move on. There's also, I think, the complication that comes in becoming a perfectionist, of making the perfect the enemy of the good. So often in life we find that to be the case, where things are very complicated and take time. And yet, when we have a small success, a small movement forward, we decide that it's not enough, and so we cannot move forward. That too is something that we should avoid. This past week, we commended to God Sister Rosemary, a mercy sister, who built up Misericordia, which is a center that not only cares for persons with disabilities, but also gives witness to the entire community of the need to make sure that we pay respect to others. She lived in many complicated situations of building plans that had to be approved and budgets as well, dealing with government regulations, and yet she was successful because she kept her focus on what was really important: the care of the people entrusted to her, the making sure that other people would join her in this wonderful task, the simplicity of asking people for help, or being able to make sure that others would know her story and which she could tell in a very simple way. It's important for us as we begin once again this ordinary time to make sure that we put aside those things that complicate our lives and look for ways of simplicity. A simplicity that does not make something that is more complicated than it has to be, like taking out the garbage. A simplicity that does not return to past hurts or resentments, but rather allows us to move forward with simple words of "I'm sorry" and "I forgive you." But also the simplicity of making sure, even though things are not perfect, we celebrate the good that is done. And we give thanks to God for the blessings in our life, realizing that even though everything may not be perfect in our life, thanking God for the blessings that are there is always a very healing moment in our lives, one that allows us to really give thanks to God for each one of our lives. And so today, let us return to this ordinary time, this time of growth. That's why we wear green vestments. Growth comes slowly. inch by inch, measure by measure. But if we celebrate the small successes in our lives, then we can truly not only live the kind of simplicity the gospel calls us to, but also know that the Lord of the harvest will take what we have done and fulfill it himself. And that way, a life of simplicity will bear fruit.